Hi, welcome to part 2 of Welcome to Environmental Science 110 at the University of Maine in Augusta. I had some difficulty switching my camera over to both document and me, so now you can see the document as well. Sorry, I couldn't do it while the camera was running, so I had to turn it off and start again. I'd just like to go over the syllabus at this time. The syllabus is posted in a folder labeled syllabus inside of Blackboard, and I'll show you the Blackboard page once we've gone over the syllabus, and then where everything is. In general, the syllabus shows the course, the semester, my name, my office telephone number. I'm never in my office. You can call there, but I'm never going to answer, except for during my office hours maybe. I'm often up in the lab. My email. It's very important. If you want to get in touch with me, make an appointment to come see me. Office hours, again, online, Google Hangout, 10 to 11. You'll get a notification when that happens. I won't do it the first week. I'll probably do it the second week. I'll be around Monday afternoons, Wednesday during lunch, and then Friday afternoons as well. It's best to call to an appointment. You can come up and try and see me during these times, but as I said, my time is often taken away. So it's best to reserve it. And once you've reserved it, I will give that time to you and nobody else. So there's a little lecture objective. It's a basic understanding of environmental systems and human impacts on these systems. It's sort of a systems approach to things. We'll talk about concepts and some models about measuring. We'll talk about different areas of interdisciplinary areas of these, how these systems interact, the hydrosphere, atmosphere, biogeochemistry, and also biology systems and their impact on these systems. We'll talk a little bit about sustainability theory as well. So you get some skills when you're doing the labs. The labs are generally very simple, straightforward things you can do in your kitchen on a surface that can get wet. So, covered kitchen table or with an oilcloth or something, or a kitchen counter. And the basic goal is to understand scientific methods, some science, how these experiments sort of work, and then to fill out the lab sheets that go with them. The lab is designed by an online company. Used to try and do a lab through Blackboard, but people couldn't actually do the experiments. And I think just doing the experiments helps people, or it helps people like the actual physical part of the lab versus a simulation to sort of understand the concepts. There's a bunch of outcomes that my goal is that you can demonstrate understanding of these systems, analyze environmental problems. We'll talk a little bit about risk and toxicology, understand what that is, demonstrate understanding of how economics, history, and political impact the practice of environmental science. There's a lot more than just the physical science of environmental science that impacts it, because it's, as we know, heavily impacted by society. So there's an interaction here. Again, understanding of sustainability, how to collect, organize, and present the data during the lab portion of the course, how to understand a little bit about natural diversity. We'll do that just a little bit, and evaluate the role of uncertainty. Really in science in general, but what you don't know, what you can't prove, how that influences what people are talking about, and why it's so important to have an understanding of what you don't necessarily claim 100% knowledge of. And then also scientific inquiry. So that's what the course is about. It's important that you participate. Log in to Blackboard, read the material in the textbook, which is online. I'll show you how to do that. And take these tests, do all the lab assignments on time, and do the discussion. And that is the course. The text is called Environmental Science Systems and Solutions, and you buy it directly from the publisher at their website at jblearning.com. The ISBN is below. You can click on the link, JB Learning, and the catalog number, and get access codes directly from them. Once you have the access code, you should write it down put it on your computer, put it, wallpaper your bathroom with it so you know what your textbook access code is, because if you lose it, I can't help you. So hold on to that and don't let it go. Once you purchase the access code, you can get access to the textbook for 1 year online. And you bring that access code to this other website down here, publish.jblearning.com ebooks, and you either, if you don't have an account because you've not used it before, you set up your published account, and then you follow the on-screen instructions. And if you already have a published account, you just sign in and redeem your access code by entering the access code that you purchased. Then you go to the link called eBookshelf. And eBookshelf will have a link where you can look at the textbook and open it up at any time. So anytime you need to go back there, you just go to this website and sign into your account and go to your eBookshelf, and your textbook will be there. The laboratory comes in a kit, a physical kit, a big cardboard box, and you buy it through the UMA bookstore. The kit inside will have another access code. This is the second access code you cannot lose, because if you do, there's not much I can do for you. You can, hold on to your receipts and argue with the manufacturer, but I don't have your access code. So hold on to it, make copies of it. Like I said, wallpaper your bathroom with this access code as well, and then you'll have it. Because all the lab assignments, demonstrations, videos, etc. are on the eScience website. And you'll have the kit to do the experiment, but the instructions and support materials are online on this outside website that's not part of Blackboard. So you go to the eScience website linked here, create an account, choose a username and password. Also should remember that somehow. Write it down and add the rest of your information, create the new account, and it'll ask you for the code. And then you'll be in. And by the way, the lab kit I think is almost, I don't know what it is, $180 something. But the book is only $63 or $69 or something like that. So the book is much cheaper than a textbook, and the lab is a little pricey, but all things considering, for a lab course with a lab, it's well under $300. So the way I grade everything is that there are no surprise quizzes, there are no pop quizzes, or excuse me, no pop quizzes. Not trying to surprise you in any way. Everything in the course is laid out for you way ahead of time. It's all scheduled, and the only thing that will affect the schedule is some change in timing with the university. We don't really have to deal with snow days, so snow days don't really count. I know they count for you if you've got kids at home. You can't do work that day. But you should have plenty of time to do all the assignments well before they're due. So as long as you don't wait to the very last minute to do an assignment and turn it in, i.e. Friday morning, you should have plenty of time to get the assignments in on time. If you miss something, or you're going to miss something, communicate with me, and I will determine whether or not makeup is available. They are not automatic. They only occur with express permission from me and only me. So because I've given you all the information you need, I expect you guys to sort of be on top of things and communicate with me, not email me 2 weeks after a test you missed and say, oh, I had something come up, because, that's 2 weeks after the fact. You need to say, emergencies are emergencies, but if you know you're going on vacation the week an exam is, and you're planning that vacation, and you need to take it at some other time, it's important you're proactive and communicate with me so that we can succeed here, not tell me afterwards. As I said before, all assignments that are scheduled in any week are due Friday before noon of the week they're due. So the assignments might be in a folder, say labeled, I don't know, what's today? Say Monday is the 9th. So like, let's say the folder says January 9th. Where is my... Oh well. Not loving this. Sorry about that. So assignments could be labeled at the beginning of the week. They're usually labeled for the Monday of that week. If they're due that week, they're due the Friday of that week that they're due. No late work is accepted without permission. Late work that is accepted will be downgraded. So if you have a 10-point assignment and you turn it in a week late, you only get 5 points for it. So it's important to turn it all in on time. The other thing is I sort of explained, and I'll show you in the syllabus, that the course is in 3 sections, and the exam ends the section, and all work previous to that section that is not turned in before that exam will disappear, and you will not have a chance to make it up. So it's important that everybody keep up with the course. I do this because if not, in the past, people have tried to do the whole course in the last 2 weeks of the course, and it's been a real miserable experience for them. And it doesn't work. So you got to keep up. You got to participate. You can't just come in and do it all at once. When you submit your labs each week, sometimes there's 2 or 3 things that need to be submitted from a lab. You need to attach them to the assignment in the lab folder in Blackboard. So there'll be Blackboard, I'll show you, course content. There'll be a folder for that week, and then there'll be an assignment. And it'll say what's due that week, and then you have to attach those sheets that you got offline from the website, the lab website, filled out, and attach them as attachments to that assignment. I can't take submissions directed through email, and I will not accept them, primarily because there's 50 plus of you, and if you each send me 3 assignments a week, that's 150 pieces of information that I need to keep organized, and the way I do that is through Blackboard. So I will not accept labs directly emailed to me or otherwise. You download the labs from the website, you fill them. After you've done the lab, you download the sheets, the question sheets, you fill them out, you post them. We don't do quizzes in here, and that's where it's at. When you attach an attachment, a lab sheet, to the Blackboard assignment, which I'll show you, it's important that you put your full name and the title of the document. So for example, my name is Peter Milligan. The lab would be scientific method number 1, and this is the post-lab question sheet for that lab. And it's all there in the document. If you just send something to me that says, lab 1 or something like that, I'm not going to accept it. I need everything, all of that information in the title of the document that you saved it. It's important. It's how I know which documents are whose, and saves me the hassle of opening up every single document every time I want to know who wrote it. So make sure your name's on it. Make sure I know what it is. The discussion topics will be posted every week in the announcement section of Blackboard, and the discussion section is separate in Blackboard. You'll see how that works, and you need to complete all the discussions for a given section before the exam for that section is due. So I'll show you how that it looks in a minute too. There's tons of work to be done here. I don't give extra credit. There's no need for it, because there's so much to do. So this is how I determine your grade. There are 3 100-point exams. I usually put some extra points in there. Anything above 100 points for each exam is extra credit. There are a bunch of different laboratories that add up to 185 points. There's online discussion sections that add up to 90 points. There's 9 discussions, 3 each third of the course. And that means there's a total of 575 points in the class. To figure out your grade average at any time, you would bring up a calculator. Let's say you took the first exam and did the first set of labs, and out of that there was out of that you had 120 points total, and then you would divide that by, say, the number of points available, which would be 100 for the first exam, and let's say 35, sorry, clearly, 135 available points to date. That would equal 0.88, and then you would multiply that times 100, and you would see your average is 88.8 or 88.9. If you have trouble calculating your average grade throughout the course, I'd be glad to help you do it. You just need to know your total points divided by the total points that were available to date. At the end, I don't give out letter grades, but at the end of the course, I add up all your points, divide it by 575, and then I get this multiplied by 100, and I get a course average. And then, depending on your course average, you either get an A, B plus, B, C plus, C, D, etc. Notice I don't give minus grades, so if you get a 90 in my course, you get an A. If you get an 80 in my course, you get a B. If you get a 70 in my course, you get a C. That also means that I don't round up, so on that previous example, if it was 88.8, or 88.9, you would get an 88, not an 89. Usually people don't have to deal with this, but if something did happen to you or you couldn't complete the work and you contacted me and you had done most of the course and were just missing a little bit of the course, I would consider giving you an incomplete, especially if you had some issue at home or with work or something happened in your life where you could not complete the work. This is at my discretion. Don't assume that you can get it incomplete. I strongly suggest you work through the material if you can. Incompletes are a pain in the butt for the student, and they always come back and haunt you when you least want them to. All right, so this is how the lecture works. And this is the schedule. They're broken down into weeks. The first week is starting Tuesday the 17th. Monday is a holiday. Second week starts Monday the 23rd. Right? So that's the week. During week 1, you're supposed to read chapters 1 and 2 out of the textbook and then do the online discussion question. The online discussion question for week 1 is simply a bio. I'll post it. I'll ask you guys to each say something about yourselves, why you're interested in the course, whether it's just a requirement you need or you've had any other interest in environmental science. It's just sort of a, hi everybody, this is who I am kind of posting. It can be short, it can be long, but it's something that everyone else will read. The lab, you need to read the safety and scientific methods sections, purchase the science lab kit, and set up your lab account. And then you would read the lab safety page and do lab number 1, the scientific method, experiment 1. The discussion, online discussion, is worth 10 points. So by posting this first online discussion, you get 10 points. You see it's due this week, so it says due under this week. The second week, week 2, we move on to chapter 3, talk about the biosphere and biogeochemical cycling. I also have posted some biogeochemistry handouts that you should read. There's also an online discussion that has to do with biogeochemistry. During the lab section, you move on to do the lab on how to write a lab report, experiment number 1, and the assignment sheets 1 and 2 for that experiment. What is due that week is the online discussion posted here, and then the scientific method post-lab question sheet from week 1. And you attach that to the lab folder in Blackboard dated 1/23, oops, that's wrong, 1/23, 2017. So 2 things are due this week, the online discussion assigned for lecture, and then the lab that we did the week before. And there'll be an assignment in the lab folder where you can post these 2, where you can attach these 2 attachments. Notice that the lab that we're starting in week 2 is not due to the next week. And that's how it generally works. I assign a lab. Some of them, or parts of them, you can do that week. Other ones, you need to do the experiment, wait for the results, and then it won't be actually posted until the following week. So each week, you know what's due by looking under this section here. And each week, you know what to do by looking at the lecture and the lab sections up above. So to continue on, week 3, the lecture will be chapter 4, the distribution of life on Earth, right? And in lecture 4, There should be an online discussion assigned here as well. I apologize for that. I don't know what happened in the recording, but I must have exited out or used the wrong copy. You read chapter 4, there'll be a discussion question, and then we'll continue the lab we started last week, how to write a lab report. So during this week, you'll finish up the second lab on how to write a lab report, assignment sheets 1 and 2. What's due is going to be the discussion for chapter 4, and how to write a lab report experiment. The lab report will be due as well. And so forth and so on. Now, in week 4, we have our first exam. The first section is very short, right? So there'll be a first section of an exam, and all the online discussion sets will be closed, right? We'll start the next lab on data measurement, which has 5 worksheets. They're very straightforward worksheets. And what's due is the end part of the lab report, or the second sheet. It might look a little confusing, but I'm going to post this every week and tell you exactly what's due and how many points and where to put it in. You can see the folders labeled here, dated 2/6/2017. It's important that all the online discussions before here are posted before the end of this week. It's also important that this lab from lab 2 is posted before the end of the week. And so on and so forth. If we go into Blackboard, and click on the course, see if I can make it big enough. Come on, get bigger. Oh well, it's not moving for me. You'll see in the Blackboard course, there's an announcement section, which should be empty right now. There's a syllabus section where the syllabus I was just looking at is posted. And then there's a course content section and a discussion section. Under the course content section, there'll be a welcome folder where I'll leave copies of this video and a little Word document. There's a folder full of lecture videos, MP4s, where you can find all the lectures for each week. There's another folder for the corresponding PowerPoint slides if you want to look or download the PowerPoint slides for every week. There's a special folder here during week 2 where we do the biogeochemistry because I have some handouts. And then there's a laboratory folder, review sheet folder, and exams folder. So all your laboratories are in here, right? Review sheets for each test are in here. And when I post the exams, the 3 exams, they'll be in here, right? So let's just look in the lecture folder to see what it looks like. When you open the lecture folder, you'll see here's week 1, and there'll be chapter 1 broken up into 3 videos, and chapter 2 broken up into 3 videos. So you can download these or watch them right in Blackboard, and they correspond to the PowerPoint slides for chapter 1 and chapter 2, which you can also download here. If you open up the laboratory folder, there's some instructions about getting onto eScience labs, right? And then here's the lab for the scientific method. There's nothing due this week. It's just in instructions. Read the lab materials online and do experiments for exercise number 1, right? And some hints about what independent and dependent variables are and what a testable hypothesis is. If you go then to Lab 2, the next week, how to write a lab report, I've attached 2 Word documents that talk about the lab report assignment above and beyond what's online in the eScience Labs webpage, and also attached a template for a lab report. Again, this is one of the more involved labs you're going to be doing, but we also have 2 weeks to do it. In the assignment folder down here, you see what's due. This week is the scientific method, experiment number 1, post-lab question sheet, and it's 10 points. So when you click on this assignment, and it's due, it's for the week of the 23rd, due the 27th. When you click on this assignment, you can attach your file that you've downloaded from the lab website onto here and submit it. Then, like I said before, the file name should have your full name in it and a description of what the file is, so I can look at it and know what it is. I will correct these right in Blackboard, and then the grades will be posted in the grade section. See when it's due? At noon. That means don't try and submit it at noon, submit it before noon, so you get it in. All right. So if we back out, we can then also go down to here where we have the review sheets posted, and you can see the review sheet for exam 1 is already posted. These are just general outlines of what we've been talking about.